mental technique that the absolute top performers in the world use to do things that, well, seem impossible. And it all ticks off with a really simple question.
I know, it sounds like some kind of riddle, doesn't it? But here's the crazy part, it actually happened. And the story behind this unbelievable feat, well, it pulls back the curtain on a secret about your mind that you can literally use to reshape your own reality. So, picture this. It's the Olympics, the biggest stage on the planet. Millions and millions of people are glued to their screens. And a 23-year-old swimmer, he's stepping up onto the starting block. I mean, this is it. This is the moment he has trained for his entire life.
He dives in, the race is on, and then boom, absolute disaster. His goggles, they start filling up with water. And we're not talking a little leak. Within moments, he can't see a single thing. I mean, for a swimmer, that is the ultimate nightmare. That should be game over, race done.
But here's what's incredible. He doesn't panic. He doesn't even slow down. He just keeps swimming, perfect stroke after perfect stroke, like he can see the whole pool laid out in front of him. He hits the wall, and the result is it's unbelievable. He didn't just win the gold medal, he completely shattered the world record. And yeah, you guessed it, that swimmer was of course the one and only Michael Phelps. And get this, that was just one of the mind-blowing 23 Olympic gold medals he won in his career. 23, making him the most decorated Olympian in the history of the Games.
So the question is, how on earth did he do that, right? How do you win the biggest race of your life when you can't even see? Well, let me tell you, it wasn't magic, and it sure as heck wasn't luck. It all came down to years and years of a very, very specific type of mental training.
You know, Phelps's journey, it wasn't some cakewalk. As a kid, he was diagnosed with ADHD, he was bullied, his parents divorced. Focusing was a real struggle. But then, when he was just 11, his coach, a guy named Bob Bowman, he introduced him to this new routine. And here's what it was. Every single night, without fail, Phelps would lie down, relax, and play what he called a mental movie of the perfect race. But, and this is the genius part, Bowman didn't just have him visualize success, he had him visualize the absolute worst-case scenarios too. Like, what if your suit rips? What if your goggles fill with water? And he would mentally rehearse staying totally calm when winning anyway. So when it actually happened at the Olympics, it wasn't a surprise. His brain just switched gears and pulled the right file from that mental library.
And this technique, what we call visualization, it's not just some trick for athletes. No way. It's a fundamental power of the human mind. It's used by the greatest performers in literally every field you can imagine, and it's backed up by some seriously incredible science. I mean, we are talking about absolute legends here. Bruce Lee used it to become arguably the greatest martial artist ever. Arnold Schwarzenegger pictured himself as Mr. Olympia long before he ever won the title. And you've probably heard this one. Jim Carrey, he famously wrote himself a check for $10 million for acting services rendered, dated it for the future, and carried it in his wallet for years before he ever made that kind of money. Even athletes like cricket superstar Virat Kohli swear by it. So what's the secret sauce here? What makes this actually work? It's pretty simple, actually. On a neurological level, your brain really can't tell the difference between something you've actually experienced and something you've just vividly imagined. Seriously, think about it. If you close your eyes right now and imagine slicing into a juicy lemon, your mouth starts to water, right? Your brain is physically reacting to a thought as if it were real.
Okay, to really put this to the test, scientists ran this super fascinating study. They split a bunch of basketball players into groups. Group 1, they went to the court and physically practiced shooting free throws. Normal stuff. But Group 2, they were told to only imagine practicing. They never touched a basketball. They just sat there and mentally rehearsed it.
And the results? They were absolutely stunning. So the group that physically practiced, they improved by 24%. No surprise there. The control group that did nothing? Zero improvement, of course. But the group that only practiced in their minds? Get this. They improved by 23%. That's almost identical to the people who were actually on the court. Their brains were literally building the same neural pathways, the same muscle memory, just by using their imagination. So how does this work, scientifically? Well, it's because you're basically programming a part of your brain called the reticular activating system, or RAS for short. Just think of it like your brain's bouncer, or its spam filter. You know how when you decide you want to buy, say, a red car, and then suddenly you start seeing red cars everywhere? That's your RAS in action. So by visualizing your goals, you're telling your RAS, hey, this is important, pay attention to this. And it starts to filter your reality, pointing out all the people, the ideas, and the opportunities that can actually help you get there. All right, so we've talked about what this is and why it's so powerful. Now let's get down to the good stuff.
how you can actually do it. Here's a super simple 5-step game plan you can use to start your own mental rehearsal.
Okay, step 1, find a quiet spot where you're not going to be interrupted. Easy enough. Step 2, relax your body and your mind. Some deep breaths usually do the trick. Step 3, and this one's huge, get crystal clear on your goal. Not just something vague like, I want to be successful. No, be specific. I'm standing on stage, confidently delivering my presentation, and the audience is cheering. See the difference? Step 4 is to use all your senses. We'll get more into that in a second. And finally, step 5, maybe the most important of all, do it consistently. Make it a habit.
Let's double-click on that 4th step, because this is really where the magic happens. Don't just see your goal like you're watching a movie. You need to experience it. What sounds are around you? What does that trophy or that contract feel like in your hands? Can you smell anything, like fresh-cut grass or the coffee in the boardroom? And here's the kicker. What are the emotions? You have to feel the joy, the pride, the relief, the gratitude as if it's happening right now. The more of your senses you pull in, the more real and powerful it becomes for your brain.
Okay, so this all sounds great, right? But, and this is a big but, as powerful as visualization is, there are a few common traps people fall into that can completely sabotage the whole thing. So let's talk about the biggest mistakes so you can make sure to avoid them. And this little analogy, it just perfectly explains the #1 mistake, negative self-talk. So think of your brain like a car, okay? Visualization, that's your foot on the accelerator. It's moving you forward. But self-doubt, all those little voices in your head saying, I can't do this, I'm not good enough, who am I kidding? That's your foot slamming on the brake. And what happens when you're driving with one foot on the gas and one on the brake? You go absolutely nowhere. You burn a lot of fuel, but you don't move. You have to believe it's possible for this to work. And that brings us to the second huge mistake, thinking that visualization is some magic wand that replaces actually doing the work. It's not. Let's be clear. Michael Phelps didn't just lie in bed thinking about swimming. He spent thousands upon thousands of hours grinding it out in the pool. Visualization is the blueprint. It prepares your mind for success. But you still have to go out and build the house in the real world. Which brings us to the final and most critical piece of the puzzle. It is not one or the other. True, lasting, unstoppable success, it only comes when you combine that inner vision with real-world action.
Think about it like this. If you have all the visualization in the world, but you never get off the couch and take action, well, that's just called daydreaming. It might feel nice for a little while, but ultimately, nothing in your life actually changes.
But now, let's flip that. If you're all action, just hustling and grinding 24/7 without a clear vision of where you're going, that's just directionless hard work. You're spinning your wheels. You might feel super busy, but you're not actually making progress towards your biggest goals.
But when you put the two together, when you first program your mind with that crystal clear, vivid vision, and then you back it up with consistent, focused action, well, that right there, that is the formula for becoming absolutely unstoppable.
So whether you're trying to win an Olympic gold medal blind, or nail that presentation, or build the life you've always dreamed of, the principle is exactly the same. Your mind is the architect of your reality. So really, the only question left for you is, what are you going to tell it to build? What will your mind make real?